Caitlin Clark is listed on an injury report, lads. You're gone to a preseason game. It is on an injury report. For the first time in her WNBA career, Caitlin Clark is listed.
Taking her completely off the board. She will not touch a basketball. And unfortunately, we will probably won't see Caitlin Clark play in any preseason games.
The WNBA world is in chaos after it was announced that Caitlin Clark got injured just days before the season begins. Fans who changed wedding dates, took time off work, and even risked friendships just to watch her first game are now heartbroken. Clark hurt her ACL.
She injured her ACL.
Injured leg needs rest. This means she might miss the preseason games. If you're upset about it, you're definitely not alone. I feel the same way.
And ACLs are a tough one to recover from, and so
it almost feels like every bitter coach, jealous rival, and salty ex-fan base teamed up and got what they wished for. Because yes, it's true. Caitlin Clark, the most hyped rookie in WNBA history, is officially on the injury report.
Plenty of opportunities to, go see Caitlin Clark play for the rest of the year. But when will we know if she's questionable? It should be listed right before it.
Let that sink in. The face of the league, the reason half of America suddenly started caring about the WNBA, is now listed as questionable just days before her big preseason debut.
Thought this was clickbait. There was no way in hell Caitlin Clark could have been hurt in my book. Well, I'm here to tell you, the Indiana Fever put out information that there's more information coming out from people that's actually in Indiana.
And yeah, I know questionable sounds like she just sneezed too hard or something. But in WNBA terms, it means there's a real 50-50 chance she might not play. For most players, that's just an update. For Caitlin Clark, it's a full-blown crisis.
That's literally like saying it's an FU to season ticket holders if Caitlin Clark actually gets injured.
Because this isn't just some regular rolled ankle. Caitlin Clark doesn't play in slow motion. Her entire game is built on speed and chaos, sprinting, sharp stops, and step-back threes from way beyond the arc. Every move relies on that explosive first step. Now, the right leg, the one she plants on and uses to launch those deep shots, is being closely watched, and things are already looking shaky. Let's not forget, Georgia Moore just tore her ACL.
that Georgia Moore injured her right ACL during Tuesday's Mystic practice, the team announced. She and the team will examine treatment and rehabilitation options.
Aaliyah Edwards is dealing with a back contusion.
That says that forward Aaliyah Edwards has been diagnosed with a low back contusion. She will be re-evaluated in 2 weeks.
Megan Gustafson is also sidelined with a leg issue. It's not just Caitlin. This rookie class is falling apart like a group project 5 minutes before the deadline.
Kentucky, she's somebody that I'm a huge fan of, and I was really excited to see her play this weekend.
Fans are noticing these players just finished grinding through an NCAA season, went straight into media circuits, and then jumped into pro training with zero recovery time. Now, welcome to preseason. Here's your injury report. It's not just about Clark anymore. This is a pattern, and the league should be worried.
They're young players that a lot of people are excited to see who are out with injury, and that's just such a tough blow.
But then comes a fever spin. It's not that serious, right? Totally casual. Scott Agnes, the guy who's basically been at every practice, swears she looked fine.
Because Scott Agnes, I mean this, he's been showing off an awful lot of footage. And if you guys are seeing right here, he said that Caitlin Clark was at practice and was fine today.
She moved well, no visible pain, and even launched her trademark half-court shot like it was just another Tuesday. That little clip had fans wiping away tears and canceling their panicked tweets. Then, boom, there's a bandage, a thick, unmistakable wrap around her leg. Oh, and she sat out part of practice, didn't do extended drills, and stayed on the sideline longer than usual.
She's not just going to play tomorrow. She's not going to play tomorrow. She's going to play quite a lot. Of course, it's precaution. She'll be fine.
Now, I don't know about you, but if someone tells me she's totally fine while she's literally wrapped in caution tape and benched in the middle of a drill, I'm going to raise an eyebrow so high it'll hit my ceiling fan.
Could be. We don't know what that is yet, but she is sidelined indefinitely. And this is a new Las Vegas Aces team.
Sure, they're calling it precautionary, but Clark doesn't rest unless something's actually wrong. Which begs a question. Are we seeing good strategy here, or are they hiding a growing problem behind PR tape? And now comes a trendy excuse, load management.
And they're just load managing her. Like, that is the reality, is that Caitlin Clark is almost certainly being load managed.
You know that fun little term, load management, where teams rest their stars to avoid them burning out mid-season? It's usually for 38-year-old knees and players who've been through 4 decades and 2 wars, not 22-year-old Caitlin Clark, who just got here with all her limbs still under warranty. But already, she's being bubble-wrapped like an antique. That's not management. That's Mayday.
It's a back-to-back in Iowa. One of them's in Iowa.
And to be fair, Caitlin Clark has more than earned that rest. She's been running on overdrive for months, powering through a grueling final NCAA season, single-handedly dragging Iowa into the national spotlight, juggling a non-stop media circus, walking straight into the WNBA draft spotlight, and then diving headfirst into pro training camp with no pause in between.
She's going to want to play all those games, and she's going to want to give as good a showing as possible for the fans. And I think that might be the reason why they're taking her out of the game.
There hasn't been a single moment for her to breathe, recover, or even live like a normal 22-year-old. So, when the Fever uses the term load management, it's not about strategic rest. It's a desperate attempt to keep their biggest star from physically crashing before the season even truly begins.
Quickly, hopefully we will get more information on this injury and the severity of.
But fans are side-eyeing the whole thing, especially with that game coming up on Sunday, on Iowa's home turf, with her people there. You really think she's missing that? Please. The Fever knows exactly what they're doing. Sit her down now, let the rumors swirl, and then let her walk into Iowa and drop 30 on live TV. It's all a setup, a dramatic PR mastermind move. Peak marketing. And honestly, I respect it, but we're still stressed.
Her team went into the NCAA tournament and then she goes straight into training camp. There's just not that much time for recovery for these players, and it does put them in a situation where they might be more prone to injury because they don't have that time where they just get to recover and reset and get ready for their new season.
Because this isn't just a headline, it's a full-blown alarm bell, and it's all coming from her right leg. Not her elbow, not a jammed finger, not some random cramp. Her right leg, the absolute engine of her entire game. That's the foot she uses to launch those absurd step-back threes, the one she plants every time she goes off balance for a fadeaway. The leg that literally powers the brand of chaos we call Caitlin Clark basketball.
Thought this was clickbait. There was no way in hell Caitlin Clark could have been hurt in my book. Well, I'm here to tell you, the Indiana Fever put out information that there's more information coming out from people that's actually in Indiana.
Let's just say it. This isn't a torn ligament, but it's not a paper cut either. Based on how they're handling it, letting her shoot around casually but benching her for high-intensity drills, it's likely something like a quad strain. That means reduced power, unstable movement, and trouble exploding off that leg.
She will not touch a basketball, and unfortunately, we will probably won't see Caitlin Clark play in any preseason games.
Another option, patellar irritation, basically jump shot-induced knee chaos. It's common in players who live above the arc. Always, early stage tendinitis in either the patella or Achilles tendon, which screams overuse and sounds like the first verse in a song no one wants to hear.
Tomorrow game status report versus Washington. Caitlin Clark questionable with the left leg injury.
These are injuries that don't scream emergency until they're ignored and suddenly become the kind that can hijack entire seasons. Now, zoom out. Caitlin hasn't had a single minute to breathe. She went from torching defenses in the Final Four to doing red carpet interviews of the WNBA draft, and then got thrown into pro-level training like the Energizer Bunny on steroids.
Now, with this news, it made me think about the timeline of these rookies and how they go straight from college to getting drafted and then straight into their WNBA season where the physicality just kicks it up a notch.
She didn't get an off-season. She didn't get a nap, and she definitely didn't get the recovery time her body deserved after a college season where she literally carried Iowa like a duffel bag, racking up monster minutes, running the court solo, and launching more threes than half the league combined. But the timing is deliciously suspicious.
Fever listed Caitlin Clark left leg injury is questionable as game 1 Saturday matchup. Scott also said, no need to panic. Caitlin Clark was at practice and moving around just fine.
This injury just happened to pop up right before the WNBA's most hyped preseason spectacle, the Iowa homecoming. That game isn't just a warm-up, it's a headline. It's being played at Carver Hawkeye Arena, where Clark became a legend against Brazil's national team in a moment made entirely for Sports Center montages. And you're telling me this leg situation isn't at least a little bit strategic? Please. The Fever are playing chess while the fans are out here screaming over checkers. Even coach Stephanie White practically admitted it.
Again, Stephanie White alluded to it. Stephanie White not said as much, didn't guarantee it, didn't say anything too much, but Stephanie White alluded to it as well. That that players aren't going to play as much as are expected to see and people might be disappointed.
When reporters asked about rotations, she basically said no one's getting big minutes in the first game. Translation, no one's risking injury, and no one's giving fans a full show just yet. The opener against the Mystics? That's just a dress rehearsal. The Iowa game? That's the Broadway premiere.
Yeah, she's going to be fine. She's going to play in Iowa. And maybe this is literally...
Maybe Clark really is banged up. But even if she's not, this still feels like a PR strategy dress up as a medical excuse. The comment sections are in chaos. Die-hard Clark fans are going head-to-head with WNBA purists like it's a playoff series. People are flipping tickets online, begging for refunds, and accusing the team of false advertising. One fan said they spent hundreds to bring their whole family to the game, and now they feel blindsided because Clark might not even step on the court. At this point, the game against the Mystics might as well be a closed-door scrimmage, because all anyone cares about is whether Caitlin Clark's leg will show up.
This could actually be a case of them saying, Caitlin, you are playing 30 minutes in preseason. Or you can either play 15 minutes in both the games, or you can play 30 minutes in one game.
And that's exactly why this moment matters. The Fever knows what's at stake. Multiple inside sources say Caitlin Clark will either play 0 minutes or just a token 3 to 5 minutes in the opener, basically just enough to say she showed up. Then, she's expected to go full beast mode in Iowa, playing 25 to 30 minutes and making sure her homecoming is headline-worthy.
This is, like I say, this is part of the business. They probably saving Caitlin for Iowa at Carver Arena.
Coach White has already been quietly hinting that this is about building rotations and chemistry, which is basically PR code for, we're saving the fireworks for later. The plan is crystal clear. Downplay the Indiana game, absorb the fan tantrums, and unleash the full spectacle in Iowa. The Fever are sacrificing the hype now to set up the perfect movie script moment later. At this point, whether Caitlin's leg really needs this much rest almost doesn't matter, because what started as a simple injury update has now become the entire narrative. Let me know how you're feeling about this wild update, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because we're going all in this season, and it's only getting crazier from here.